safe travel through the strait.
But I don't understand, Kaylee, how Europe can sit by and not let us use the airspace and the things that a U.S. military, should we have to.
Because we would be bringing them into it. Iran would start attacking them. We'd put some of their men in the way. Oh, and guess what? They didn't want this war. And it's kind of fucked up to just try to drag them into a conflict just because we let Israel drag us into this conflict/war. I'm sorry, but that's not cool. And who will go along with that?
Re-engage and just protect the strait so that ships can go through. I mean, but they want to benefit from that protection in the strait. So they might take a part via NATO, and Ruta was just here, and so maybe those conversations are happening, the Secretary General of NATO. But they don't want to support what got us to the point where we could keep them from developing nukes.
It's absolutely absurd. And that's why cameras weren't allowed in that room. Rutte and Trump do get along. Typically, there are cameras there, and we see this relationship. But we didn't see it because a hard conversation took place. And I've been in the room with President Trump as he's met with foreign countries and had those hard conversations. And believe me, they look very differently behind the scenes than they look like in front of the cameras. And that's where he gets his leverage. International diplomacy is messy. It's not going to be a clean process. There's a back and forth that takes place, and an added element when you're dealing with a terrorist regime like Iran that cannot be trusted. But I will say this, the negotiators in the room, I've been there with Jared Kushner. He knows what he's doing. He's whip smart. Steve Witkoff.
Hell nah.
They are.
I ain't gonna lie. Jared Kushner should not even be in the negotiation. Okay, he's smart, but he shouldn't be in the negotiations just because, like, I'm gonna be real with you. He has a conflicted interest. Think about it. He's literally friends with Netanyahu. Actually, he's friends with the whole damn family. Netanyahu don't want this war to end, aka Jared Kushner don't want this war to end. Why? Because he has conflicted interest due to his family ties with Netanyahu. And I'm sorry, but he should be taken off the negotiation team just because of that alone. But all right.
Responsible for the hostages being released, the Gaza ceasefire. J.D. Vance is a key voice in this. And ultimately, President Trump, the closer who has solved 8 conflicts. This is a hard problem to solve. It has bedeviled every president over the last 47 years. But I like the odds with this president.
Well, and like Joey said, they're using the 2 levers. They've got the diplomacy, and we will use our might. So, Emily, one more point about all this is Israel and its continued battle with Lebanon's terrorist army that sits there. And now the Lebanese want to talk about dismantling that army. I don't know if they can, but that's a sticking point. Iran says Hezbollah has to be able to do what it needs to do against Israel. So that's a war, I guess, that just continues.
Well, I think that underscores that different sovereign entities have different mission objectives, and they have different purposes that they're seeking. If I can just ask you a follow-up real quick. For those that are saying, who are we even negotiating with in Iran or in the Islamic Republic? And secondly, how does that impact all of the proxies that were the source of so much death and destruction? Is it our Gulf allies that we can rely upon to help manage?
Well, I think that this is a great question, Emily. And one of the things that the U.S. destroyed is command and control. It's the ability of the leaders to be able to communicate to the people in the field. And so that is a problem. And President Trump has said as much. But we do need to get whoever is going to be talking to J.D. Vance needs to say, we are going to call off attacks. There will be no attacks in the Strait of Hormuz. But it is a rump regime. We've taken out over 1,000 IRGC and besieged leaders. So we really have taken out the top leadership in the regime. It's really just a rump regime flailing at this point.
Well, look, last hour we heard.
No, we didn't. Bro, okay, yeah, we took out Khomeini, but now he's got a place with his son, who's on a revenge trail right now. Like, we killed his dad, his mother, and his daughter all in one strike. I'm sorry, but we're still dealing with the same regime, except now they're more hard line. And then we killed all the moderates. So now we're dealing with a whole bunch of hardliners. So please spare me with that one. No, there has been no regime change. Don't let them lie to you.
With a statement directly from the White House during the Faulkner Focus,
wish there was
who would be sitting at the table on our side, Witkoff, Kushner, and Vice President Vance. We still, is your point, we don't know who's on the other side of the table. This is breaking just now from the President of the United States on Truth Social. Quote, the Iranians don't seem to realize they have no cards other than a short-term extortion of the world by using international waterways. The only reason they are alive today is to negotiate. quick response to that, Kaylee.
Yeah, he's clearly showing that he is willing to use hard power. And that is what makes this president different. You look at Joe Biden before him, soft power. What Iran saw was an unfortunate withdrawal from Afghanistan that was disastrous. What they see when they look at this president is someone who's saying hard power is not off the table here. I'm willing to use.
Yeah, I'll be real with you. It's that hard power that actually pushed Iran to enrich to 60% in his first term. So I was hoping Trump learned his lesson and was like, you know what? Let's not push him any further and let's get him under a deal, because it was his aggressive actions after ripping up the JCPOA, invoking the sanctions, pretty much making made the IRGC a terrorist group, pretty much put him on the terrorist list, and then killed General Qasem Soleimani. I mean, all after he ripped up the JCPOA and exited out of the deal. What do you think they were going to do? It goes to show the more aggression you put on Iran, the quicker these guys are wanting to actually make a nuke. And now here we are, full-fledged war with them. Like, what do you think they're going to do? Hopefully they don't try to go for a nuke, but at this point, nobody would blame them.
Use it, and I'm using it for leverage now.
And as you pointed out, we're reinforcing that by pulling out what we need and putting back what we need. So, yeah, we haven't left.
Yeah, I don't see anything saying that we're not going to continue epic fury.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Compon.
All right.
Points with Iran, including the Strait of Hormuz and Israel's.
But all right, though, let's get over to international news over here at Al Jazeera. Let me see here. Where's it at? Well, isn't that something? All right, hold on here. We're going to play this guy real quick for a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and pull up international news. All right.
Attacks on Hezbollah, terrorists in Lebanon. Senior correspondent Mike Tobin is in Tel Aviv with that tonight.
With ships at anchor, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard spokesman posted, "We will keep the Strait of Hormuz closed." This after Israeli intelligence told Fox News Iran has been charging ships to transit the pivotal waterway, motivating President Trump's warning they better stop.
Vito's so funny. Everybody, if you actually watch international media, everybody knew that was going on. Like, that is not a secret, sadly. Oh, guys, make sure you double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen. Now, let's get over to Al Jazeera. Iranian delegates arrive in Pakistan for make or break talks with the U.S. All right, let's get right into it.
Media reported that negotiations would begin if Washington accepted Tehran's preconditions. Iran insists the talks should include Israel ending its attacks on Lebanon. The Lebanese and Israeli governments have agreed to meet for talks on Tuesday, but Israel so far has refused to negotiate with Hezbollah. Israel has launched heavy attacks in recent days, striking what it says are Hezbollah targets. The Lebanese group is allied with Iran. Lebanon says nearly 2,000 people have been killed in the country since March the 2nd. Well, Kamal Haider is standing by for us in Islamabad. We'll go to him in a second, but first to Rosalind Jordan in Washington, D.C. Rosalind, so the U.S. Vice President, we understand, is due to touch down in Islamabad very soon. Is it clear at this stage what exactly the U.S. is hoping to achieve from these talks?
Well, there are two main goals. The first one, which was one of the reasons why the U.S. said it had to start the war against Iran on February 28th, was to prevent that country from developing a nuclear weapons arsenal. We had heard the threats before, and that's when finally the Trump administration decided now, or then, I should say, was the time to act. The other reason, which became much more of a reason as the war hit its third week, was the fact that because of its geography, Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz and is basically able to prevent both military and commercial tankers from crossing the strait and heading out into the Arabian
Sea. It's a real negotiation. They brought the head of the IRGC out.
Sea and then on to the Indian Ocean. Because of that, there's been a real backlog in the transference of oil and natural gas products to the global economy. Prices of those products and their subsidiary products have gone up. There's been an impact on inflation. And certainly the idea...
Oh, yeah, inflation went up, guys. Yeah, it went up from 2.4% to 3.3%. Yeah, I mean, bro... That is crazy. Like, we basically went up 0.9, almost a whole percentage up in inflation in just 1 month.
Is to try to stabilize the globalized economy and not allow Iran to control such an important piece of it.
Stay with us, Ross. Let's go first to Kamal Haider, who's in Islamabad. Kamal, so what is the picture where you are? We understand there's a huge security operation. Tell us how these talks are expected to take place.
Frozen? Oh, never mind.
Well, just to bring you up to date, the Iranian team, headed by the Speaker of the Parliament, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, landed in Islamabad. The Iranian aircraft was given an escort by Pakistan Air Force jets as it entered into Pakistani airspace. The Pakistani foreign minister, accompanied by the chief of the defense forces, General Asim Munir, received him on the tarmac. Then there was a convoy that led them into the city amidst very tight security. We are told that Pakistan's special services.
Yeah, very tight security, because you can never trust the Israelis. Like, bro, like, trust me, if they didn't show up with that type of security, the Israelis were gonna bomb them. Like, no, that's just a fact. They were gonna do it.
This group, that is Pakistan's Praetorian Guard Commando Unit, was also giving and providing security. The Iranian team, of course, says that they are here with full support and authorization from the Iranian government. We are expecting J.D. Vance also to arrive within the next hour or so. A very tight security indeed. Up to 10,000 security forces personnel have been deployed in Islamabad. The red zone has been sealed off, and all eyes will be on those crucial talks. The future of the region hangs in a precarious balance. So the world will be eyeing this very closely as to see what transpires and what kind of progress is made.
Ross, back to you. The Iranians have said one of the preconditions to these negotiations even beginning is that hostilities by Israel against Lebanon must stop. What are we hearing from the Trump administration on that?
Well, the Trump administration did tell Bibi, like, bro, you do got to chill. Like, chill. Let us get to the ceasefire. Let us talk to him. And then, if things don't go well, then you can resume firing. But as we're talking, chill.
That front, how much pressure are they under on Hezbollah and Lebanon?
Well, the Trump administration reportedly has been trying to convince Israel to hold its fire, as it were, in order to not endanger this 2-week-long ceasefire, which is expected to end on Tuesday, April 21st. Now, there are conflicting reports about whether the Israelis are actually going to go along with it, but it is worth pointing out that the U.S. will be hosting Israeli and Lebanese government officials here in Washington on Tuesday to see if they can work out some sort of ceasefire in that conflict. It is worth noting, however, that it's Hezbollah that Israel has been going after, not after Lebanese government targets. And so unless they're going to actually talk to Hezbollah, which Hezbollah says it won't do, then you have to question, well, what's the point of these discussions? But they are going to happen here in Washington regardless. As for the pressure on the Trump administration, there's a lot of pressure. 2 out of 3 Americans in numerous polls say that they want to see the war ended, that they think it has gone too far. They're complaining about the cost of fuel and products that are affected by rising energy costs. Inflation is going back up. That's creating political pressure for the Trump administration.
And yep, like I said, inflation went from that nice little 2.4 to 3.3% inflation. So, yeah, like MAGA, we still winning, guys. Are y'all sure y'all don't want to, kind of speak up a little bit more how this war is low-key a bad idea and it's hurting Americans and has not provided not one benefit for Americans whatsoever, just like all of our other interactions in the Middle East? But for some reason, y'all just want to forget history because it's Trump does, and that's wild.
Within the administration itself, there was not unanimity about whether to even start the war in the first place. And it's worth pointing out that the vice president, J.D. Vance, was perhaps the most vigorous voice against launching the war. But now he's the one who's going to be leading the delegation from the United States in Islamabad this weekend. And it's going to be a lot of pressure on J.D. Vance to try to get a formidable, much stronger ceasefire agreement with the Iranians, given that he is the one who really did not want to see this war start in the first place.
Okay, thank you for that. Rosalind Jordan there for us in Washington, D.C. Let me go back to Kamal Haider in Islamabad. So, Kamal, tell us more about the role of Pakistan in all this. We know, of course, they played a pivotal role in bringing about the ceasefire. The Pakistani economy also came under major strain because of the war. So they too have a lot to gain for making these talks work.
Absolutely. Pakistan imports 80% of its fuel and petroleum products from the Persian Gulf. The country's economy has been hit hard because of the closure of the Straits of Hormuz, although the Iranians have allowed some of those Pakistani ships to cross the Strait of Hormuz.
I mean, bro, the packet, like, you remember when Trump said, oh, 20, they let through 20 ships. Yeah, all of those ships were from Pakistan, actually. I know, right? So he was bragging about how Iran conceded and he let through 20 ships. And when you go look it up, it was 20 ships from Pakistan. That did not help anybody else but Pakistan.
Hormuz. The other important thing is that Pakistan's endeavors have borne fruit primarily also because friendly countries like Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Turkey, and also crucially China have played an important role in supporting Pakistan in this movement and are in constant touch with the Pakistani government. So an auspicious occasion for the Pakistani foreign policy. But at the same time, there is cautious optimism as to whether these talks will succeed. I've been told by an important, credible source that the deal is almost done. The preliminary work has been done by the forward teams that arrived before J.D. Vance's arrival and the Iranian team's arrival. And there is an expectation that perhaps a deal may be signed between the United States and the Iranians. Now, these talks are going to be indirect in the sense that Pakistan will be passing messages between the two. But we are told that most of that work is done. Pakistan, of course, could not have done this alone, although it takes credit and deserves credit. But this would not have come about without the input from friendly countries like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Turkey, just to name a few.
Come on.
And all right, now let's go ahead and get back over to American media because I do want to hear what this guy got to say. Whoops.
President Trump is optimistic ahead of peace talks with Iran and Pakistan tomorrow. Vice President Vance set to lead the talks. The new Ayatollah threatening the Strait of Hormuz is a new phase. That's an interesting one. Says our next guest says Iran will try to string us along and sell us a bad deal, but businessman Trump will not let that happen. Let's bring him here. Retired four-star general, Fox News senior strategic analyst, chairman of the Institute of Study of War, General Jack Keane. General, we're in the ceasefire stage.
Oh, God, do me a favor and double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support, by the way, but let's make sure we're double tapping that screen. And if you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, I'll be happy to read it out loud and post it to the top of the screen. Appreciate the support, guys.
President's optimistic. Are you?
Well, the president has information that none of us have. So there's something that is telling him this looks better than any of the other negotiations that he's been involved in, and certainly what the Iranians did with the Obama administration. So that's got to be a fact. But no, I'm not optimistic about it because this is what the Iranians do. I mean, they are masters at obfuscation and delaying negotiations. What's on the table is everything that they value, everything from the nuclear to the ballistic missiles, to their drones, to support for proxies, everything they stand for, they would have to voluntarily give up. It's hard to get your head around the fact that they would actually do that. What they will likely do is make concessions on a number of points that will incentivize us. Oh, this is different. They're willing to make a deal here. Drag this thing out for a number of weeks. And why do they want to drag it out? Well,
because, honestly, hopefully he says it because the longer the strait is closed, the more damage it's going to have on the global economy. And I mean, that gives more leverage to Iran. So day by day, they gain more and more leverage. And that's just a fact right there that nobody really wants to admit, because if Trump was to admit that, then he would be admitting his desperation to get the strait open.
Because they don't want us to go back and reattack. And the longer there is lower oil prices, the lower there's less economic pain, the longer there's less political pressure.
All right. And this is, like I said, who these guys are. We've seen this guy. If you watch my show, we've seen this guy all the time. He's always speaking out for Iran. So the Iranian foreign minister, and then we got this guy here, which is their parliament speaker. And then, of course, we got Jared Kushner, who should be taken out because he has a conflict of interest with Bibi Netanyahu. Steve Witkoff, I ain't gonna lie. I guess. But JD Vance, the only guy here who didn't want this war. So we'll see how things turn out.
It makes it that much tougher in their minds for the administration to go back and finish the job militarily. That, I believe, is really their strategy. And they're very clever at doing this. They're actually better at this than they are at fighting. And the history speaks for itself. And the other thing is, whatever the deal is, Brian, let's say we actually get to something and they're signing papers. Can we really trust these guys going forward?
Absolutely
I don't
not.
think so.
So, General, what are our options?
So we have to be prepared. Yeah, we got to be prepared. And I know our forces.
AKA, you don't want a ceasefire. You want the war to keep going full-fledged. And this is the problem with these war hawks. It's just like, bro, all right then. So they're saying, well, whatever deal we get to, we're not going to like it. And we're just going to want to go to war with Iran. Yeah, that's a problem with these pro-war guys. It's like, oh, well, we don't negotiate with terrorists. Okay, then we're going to go into war and hundreds of thousands of lives are going to be lost. Are you okay with that? Well, no. Then, bro, we got to negotiate with the so-called terrorists. Then if you don't want lives to be lost, trillions to be spent, and our economy to be sunk. So pick. Can't have it both ways.
Can open up that strait and protect the ships going through it. People are hand-wringing about a drone here and a missile there, and it's not going to take anything to stop it. They don't understand the plan, all right, and the details of the plan. The United States military can secure a defined space that's moving through the straits, put an absolute air cap and an air bubble around all of that, and make certain that anything that tries to penetrate it is going to be.
Oh, yeah, guys, you got any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements? I'll be happy to read it out loud and post it on the screen. Just $2 and up, or you can go ahead and send it on Rumble or Venmo. Appreciate the support, guys. And let's not forget to double tap that screen.
Defeated. My God, we've been protecting our own ships against Iranians. Have been firing on them for weeks. We can certainly do this. It's considered to be more limited than that. Right. Admittedly, they have a whole shoreline to fire from, but you think we're actually going to let anybody come close to that shoreline? We'll have Apache helicopters up, surveillance up. We know how to do this. Right. It's not that big of a deal. So I'm not saying it's not challenging. I'm not saying there isn't some risk associated with it. There's risk associated with every military operation, but it's quite doable.
So the thing is, General,
So we're just gonna go and open the Strait of Hormuz with what? Our ships that are gonna be open targets. Like you just confirmed that these guys are able to reach like what 2,000 miles out. So what? You don't think you're gonna be putting the ships in danger at that point? And I mean, bro, how much drones, missiles are they gonna fire off before we even get to the ports or to the Strait of Hormuz? Like, think about that. Like, bro, you're a general. Like, come on now.
Stop. The Chinese are allowed to go through there. The Iranian ships are allowed to go through there. They're deciding India and Pakistan ships can go through there. Why don't we decide they can't go through there? Why don't we can do this to leave them in charge while charging people extortion is not something that anybody can tolerate.
Well, I always thought that the first option available to us when they shut down the straits, as opposed to the security option, which involves much more resources, is just the Iranian ships are coming through, just quarantine them in the Gulf of Oman. And talking to our military guys, it wasn't a big deal. They can do it. They did.
I mean, yeah, they're probably saying they can do it, but they understand the risk. Like I said, you guys just said it. They can reach 2,000 miles with their missiles. All they got to do is send a hypersonic missile at y'all, and you guys are going to, bro, our Navy is going to have a little bit of a problem. And they'll be able to get through eventually, but they're going to take some hits. And once again, lives will be lost. Like I said, like what are acceptable losses to you in this case? Because I wanted no loss. I didn't even want to get into this war. But some of y'all who do want to get into this war, please tell me how much American lives are you willing to lose before you say uncle?
It off the coast of Venezuela as well. And
as long as
you
you
know,
go
the other
yourself.
thing we could do, because a lot of those ships would be China, they depend on Persian Gulf oil. I mean, they would be strapped if we did something like that. The president calls Xi and says, look, Iran is forcing us our hand here. This is something I don't want to do, but I got to do it because I got to get the straits open. And that's the reality of it. And you're going to have to pay a price. What I'd like you to do is dial up the Iranians and tell them to knock it off. I'm not telling you to tell them to stop opposing us. I'm just telling you to knock off closing the straits. I think that's a feasible strategy. And if we continue to have problems with them, I think that's the strategy we should exercise first, even
Yeah,
before.
see, he's just missing this vital information of, bro, our U.S. intelligence told us that only 33% of their missiles have been either used or destroyed. They still have thousands of missiles to throw at us all through the strait. Man, more drones to throw at us all through the strait. That's why nobody's crossing the strait right now, because people have already tried and they gotten hit. So what are you talking about? Like, they're not living in reality anymore at this point.
Or we go to
Or
the
just living
military
in an echo
option
chamber
of conducting secure convoys through the straits.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a big 2 weeks. It's going to be a big weekend. J.D. Vance is in charge, but there's no way they can remain in charge of the Strait of Hormuz. It's even bigger than the Persian Gulf. Go ahead, General. Thanks so much.
One final point. Listen, President Trump is not going to make a bad deal here. As much as he thinks there's a good deal coming, doesn't know for sure until it's on the table. And what are the verification process? He knows these guys are liars and cheaters. Listen, nobody has negotiated more with this regime than this president. And this is the only president who's ever taken them on consequentially in terms of military operations, for a fact.
Right.
So he knows what he's dealing with here. And I've got confidence he is not going to make a bad deal here after all the sacrifices that we've made going forward here. So my bet is on that outcome for sure. No bad deal. And we may find ourselves having to go back to military operations and finish this once and for all. And in that respect, I actually favor it, because then we're not throwing the regime a lifeline financially. Any deal we get into, we got to remove sanctions, freeze billions of dollars of assets. The regime is not going to recover immediately, but they are going to recover with that kind of financial assistance.
General, good point. It's everyone's going to be watching. We can't let it.
He's not wrong about that, but here's the thing, though. If we want that straight open, I'm gonna be real, like, bro, if you want to do it by force, we can do that, but we're gonna lose a lot. And I don't think we want to take that. And I don't think he understands it. But hey, a lot of people don't understand. Well, he's a 4-star general. I feel like he should understand this better than anybody, to be quite honest with you, or at least understand Iran's military capability and why we haven't even tried yet. But it is what it is. All right, here, let's go ahead and go over here to the 5, and then we're going to get into this whole Trump going against everybody. And, well, I was saying MAGA, but honestly, whoever agrees with Trump is still in there. If you agree with this war, you're still in there. If you don't agree with this war, you're out.
5 o'clock in New York on this Friday, and this is the 5.
Oh, guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people in the conversation by double tapping that screen. And if you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, you can support the channel, and you can go ahead and get your opinion out there by super chatting in. All right, let's get right back to it.
So happening just a couple moments ago, President Trump leaving the White House on his way to Virginia. This as we are in for a huge historic moment in the next 24 hours or so. We're on the eve of tomorrow's very high stakes peace talks with Iran. There's the vice president getting onto the plane earlier today on his way to Pakistan, which one official tells Axios is like, quote, JD going to the Super Bowl. And Iranian state media claims regime officials are already there preparing for this meeting, getting their own talking points ready on the ground. President Trump issuing a stern warning to Tehran on Truth Social. And here is what the president said. The Iranians don't seem to realize they have no cards other than a short-term extortion of the world by using international waterways. The only reason they're alive today is to...
I mean, you know, and the ability to, you know, bomb Israel and bomb our allies in the Middle East. I mean, there's that as well.
Negotiate. President Donald J. Trump. The vice president offering this preview. Watch.
I think it's going to be positive. If they're going to try to play us, then they're going to find that the negotiating team is not that receptive. So we're going to try to have a positive negotiation. The president has gave us some pretty clear guidelines, and we're going to see.
So meanwhile, critics are still upset with President Trump for spiking former President Obama's Iran nuclear deal.
Yep.
It's a very strong agreement. Sadly, walked away from. Not
low key though, he could have put them in a stricter version of JCPOA instead of getting into this war. Like I said, this was about monitoring Iran's nuclear capability. We had that with the JCPOA. We had inspectors on the ground. When Iran started going outside the JCPOA is when we started going outside the JCPOA, aka we broke the agreement first in 2018. Then these guys start going outside of it after our multiple acts of aggression towards them. So I'm sorry, but to sit there and say that, oh, the JCPOA was a bad idea. I mean, well, it seems to be a good idea right now, seeing that we're talking about Iran's nuclear capability that we had oversight on under the JCPOA.
For substance.
Like, if you truly cared about, you know, if it's just about Iran's nuclear capability, then you should be in agreement with the JCPOA.
Reasons, but because President Obama did it.
The Strait was open before he started this.
Yeah,
and
but they were
meanwhile,
close to having a nuclear weapon, 11 nuclear weapons.
we had other ways of dealing
Like
with
what? Obama's way?
Well, that worked.
That
Yeah.
did not work.
it. Did they get a
were
nuclear
lying
weapon under
into-
Obama?
Nope. Did they enrich under Obama? No. So they didn't enrich under Obama. We had monitoring of the nuclear capabilities under Obama. But then under Trump, now they enriched under Trump. Like, what? Like, let's be honest. We don't have no monitor under their nuclear ability because Trump got out of that deal. So he kind of made the situation. Actually, he did make the situation worse.
Pete Buttigieg with a beard now, talking about Iran. All right, so, Jesse, let's start with you. I thought it was very interesting today that the Iranian
Oh,
parliament...
guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video and subscribe to the channel while you're at it. Go ahead and hit that icon up top and subscribe to the channel. We do this every night.
And we never know when these statements come out who's actually holding the current list of what the points of negotiation are. But he came out and sort of said there were 2 points. Lebanon has to stop being bombed, and we want money. They always want money in these Iranian deals. They want their money unfrozen from foreign banks. And it almost struck me as a way of them saying, these are the absolute 2 things that we're not going to give on. But the list could be a lot longer. You watch J.D. Vance, Jesse, go up the staircase there. There's a lot riding on the vice president's shoulders when you think about geopolitical issue and his political future as well.
He's never done an international deal before. This is the first time. So no pressure at all. He could come out of this 0-1 or undefeated. So he does have a beard, and so do the Iranians. So I think that's a good sign. I would not be afraid to walk away. Sometimes when you walk away from a deal, it ends up helping the deal get done. I could see them BSing us.
AKA, I want to see the war keep going. If JD Vance meets any type of conclusion, if they get to any type of ceasefire that gives Iran anything, then we're just going to call JD Vance a traitor to the country. But if he comes back, says they said this and that, they was threatening us, let's go to war with them, then he'll be an American hero. Do you see what they're setting us up for?
Islamabad in the first half hour, I would blow it up. I'd say, you know what? Ceasefire's off. These guys aren't serious. Let's go to bridge and power plant day. Because what that does, that would actually put Iran in a weaker position, and it would just make the entire world realize these people are causing mayhem economically. And you can always hit them again. Now, I don't even know if the Iranian delegation has the clout to do this deal. I mean, I don't even know if they speak for the military or not. So who knows? We might just have to hit him again. I wouldn't be shocked if talks blow up and the Iranian delegation goes back home and Trump drops a tomahawk on him. Wouldn't be shocked if that happened. He did say the only reason they're alive is to do a deal. I also wouldn't be shocked if he blew it up and we did a naval blockade of Karg Island or seized an Iranian oil tanker. A lot of
I'm
options.
sorry, bro, but here's the problem. If we had the capability to do that, we'd have been did it. That's what you guys don't understand. If we had the capability to do it, it'd have been done. I mean, why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we take all these cards away from them if we could? Because we can't. Because if we get near Karg Island, there will be missile and drone fire that not all of our ships are going to make it through. If we try to take Karg Island, we still got to deal with the IRGC guys in there. We struck military targets, but the IRGC guys are still on Karg Island. So I'm sorry, but it's not this easy mission that you guys are fantasizing it to be. Because like if it was, we'd have been did it. Shit, we'd have been did it at the start of this war.
Table because we've been building up assets in the region even after the ceasefire started. And at the end of 12 days now, you're going to have the Boxer, the Ford, the Tripoli, the Bush, all in theater, and it gives the president flexibility. Now, no one takes John Kerry seriously except John Kerry. He and Obama gave these guys money, missiles, sunset provisions. They let him enrich, and then they gave him a heads up.
Oh, guys, if you've got any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, I'll be happy to read it out loud and engage with it. Just $2 and up. Just go ahead and send it through the super chat. Appreciate the support, guys. Let's keep it going.
Before they went and did the inspection. It's the stupidest deal of all time. Iran got more powerful. Their proxies got more powerful. It was actually the reverse Abraham Accords. You empower the Iranians and you screw the Jews and the Arabs. None of it makes sense. I don't even know why he's on television.
So, Kayleigh, the president has sort of two things to contend with here. We had a strong inflation number this morning. And then he has the other voices, and obviously we know he's the ultimate person who makes all these decisions, but he takes it all in, who are saying, finish the job.
Yeah.
So if Jesse's scenario happens and J.D. Vance walks out, and we saw that once in North Korea in the first term, just a walkout. Like, this isn't going anywhere. President Trump walked right out the door, and he probably told J.D. Vance, the same thing, empowered him to do exactly that. But he's got these two things he's contending with. What's your take, knowing him and working in the White House as you did, on where he is right now on all this?
I think he's someone who's going to finish the deal. I've been in those meetings where he sat across from hostile foreign powers. And I can tell you this, he is very, very, very tough on them. And what you see in front of the camera, what you saw with Zelensky, by way of example, that contentious Oval Office meeting, that's just what you see in front of cameras. He knows how to put pressure.
Oh, guys, make sure you're double tapping that screen and liking the video, guys. Let's get us to 150 likes. There are about 600 of y'all in here. So I just need some of y'all to go ahead and double tap that screen and like the video. We got a lot more to get into.
On behind the scenes, and so do his emissaries, and that's exactly what they're going to do. And I've worked with Jared Kushner. I've seen him operate. He is whip smart. He knows how to read people.
What's his negotiation style like in the room?
He sits very quietly. He takes it all in, and he inserts himself at the right points with the knowledge of someone who knows exactly what he's doing, how to put pressure points on the administration. Steve Witkoff there, both of them, great experience. They're the ones who got the hostages home. People said that couldn't be done. The Gaza ceasefire, they said it couldn't be done. Those two got it done. J.D. Vance, apparently a key person to getting to this moment. So I think he's a great added voice. But I think what's different here with this administration is this. The Iranians do not respect words, but they do respect action. And they look at Obama and they saw, to your point, a deal with sunset provisions that sunset in 10 to 15 years. There was not anywhere, anytime.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. And this is where, this is like a very retarded type of argument. Well, even though we removed ourselves out of the deal, we expected them to hold up their side of the deal for 15 years. Are you freaking stupid? Like, I'm sorry, but let's just make this personal, right? Because that don't make sense. If you were under a contract, right? You're under contract, you and this other guy, and you're telling me that he breaks the contract, he goes outside of it in his benefit, and but he's expecting you to uphold the contract for the duration of it, as that guy's breaking it. I'm sorry, do you not have any self-respect? So no, it's very dumb to sit there and say, well, Iran didn't abide by the 15-year term, even though we broke it in the what? First 3 years of it, 2015 to 2018, and then we get out of it. We break all of the terms by getting out of it, invoking the sanctions. What are you talking about? I'm sorry, but you can't sit there and play this whole high and mighty attitude when we broke the deal. And then you expected them to sit in a 15-year deal that we broke? Bro, I'm sorry, but that just does not make sense to even try to make that argument. I remember when Monty was trying to make that argument, like, well, how long was the JCPOA supposed to be? I'm like, it doesn't matter because we broke it. You're acting like Iran broke the deal. Then we can go ahead and make that argument of how long it was supposed to be. But we cannot make that argument if we're the ones who backed out of it and then broke every part of it to why even Iran was even in it.
inspections. They certainly were not implemented. They looked at that deal and they saw it as weak and they violated it time and time again. They looked at Biden. What did they see? The withdrawal from Afghanistan, the 13.
No, they didn't. The IAEA even confirmed that no, they was abiding by it under the JCPOA. They went outside of it in 2021 because of the act of aggressions of putting on sanctions, killing General Soleimani, of course, putting the IRGC under the terrorist. Well, what was it? Pretty much designating them as a terrorist group. Yeah. And then all of a sudden in 2021, they enriched to 60%, and it's been like that ever since. And like I said, if they wanted to get to a bomb, I mean, they had the entire Biden administration to get that done. They didn't do it.
Lost U.S. service members, Abby Gate. They saw that and they saw a president who just said don't. When they look across from Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, they are going to be looking at a administration that took out the Ayatollah within 24 hours, that put hard power behind the soft power. That is something Obama never did. It's something Biden never did. It is something, trust me, President Trump has done.
They have a new Ayatollah. And here's the problem now. Now that Trump went to war with Iran, I mean, dog, now he cannot call himself the anti-war president. I mean, Obama continued a couple of Bush's wars, but I mean, hey, he didn't get out into a full-blown war with Iran. Bush stopped that Iran after he's seen the disaster of Iraq. So what are y'all talking about? Y'all acting like, oh, this was a sign of bravery. No, I'm gonna be real with you. This was a sign of stupidity and gullibleness. It's like, how are you even sold that this would be a good idea? Because I'm sorry, but we don't have their enrichment under control. Their military is still able to strike our allies. And I mean, bro, they still got the enriched uranium. And now they're making money. So what do we do? Besides put them in a better position with just less people.
Venezuela has done in Iran and will do it again. They are going to treat this very differently. It might blow up. I agree with you. But I'll tell you this. They know that they're dealing with someone who is a man of his word. And I think he finishes the deal ultimately. Maybe not tomorrow, but he will.
Yeah, it's interesting, Jessica, the points that Kayleigh makes about prior negotiations with the Obama administration and the Biden administration. And I think back to the Biden 6-for-6 hostage deal, and then we threw in $6 billion on top of it for a sweetener of money that was released. They want their money out of these foreign banks. This is one of the biggest issues for them. They say, I interviewed the president of Iran, Pezeshkian, about 10 months ago, and he said, well, it's not our fault that we have a lousy economy, that we can't take care of our people because you guys are tying our hands with all of our money being held in all these banks. So this is a huge, huge issue for them. But as Kayleigh says, they are sitting at a very different table. And Israel is putting the heat on in Lebanon in a huge way right now. How do you see this playing out?
Well, they definitely want as much money as possible, and good news for them.
Israel's the reason why the Strait of Hormuz is not open. Like, Iran literally agreed to the Strait of Hormuz being open, and then Israel fucked that up for us by bombing Lebanon. 100 strikes, hundreds of people dead, thousands injured. But that's a win, though, for some people, though. Isn't that crazy?
They get to charge a fee because they control the Strait of Hormuz at this point. And reading President Trump's Truth Social post saying they have no cards except short-term extortion of the world by using international waterways seems like actually a pretty powerful card. I mean, we saw the inflation report, which you already referenced. Yep. We know fuel's up over 40% in the last month. We know that Americans are feeling it. Europeans are feeling it. They're negotiating their own deals if they can. Even Japan, one of our great allies, is. They're getting essentially a 2-week break to rearm. The Russians happy to help. They had their sanctions eased as well for 30.
Yeah, the $1 trillion in investment coming out of the Middle East most likely will be stalled. Why? Because now they got to focus on rebuilding their infrastructure. So that's also paused. So almost this war has almost destroyed everything Trump has built.
Days and what, 14?
Well, no, I'm not going to be dramatic and say destroyed. I'm going to say it kind of, reduced the progress of it. Like I said, he was showing progress on inflation. Now inflation's back over 3%. And he just got it at like 2.4% a couple months ago, walking it back. I mean, bro, gas was just getting it down to that $2.50. But now he pops his war off and people are seeing $4. So I'm sorry. Well, my bad. Not $2.50, $3.50. But now he popped this war off and we're like, what, at $4? Going just a little bit past, and that's a win to some of you guys. I don't know, man. Some people are just being delusional, but I really think more people should stand up against this war because this is not America first, and it's not showing out to be America first in any way, shape, or form.
billion that came off of the Iranians in terms of sanction easement, is that a word? Easing as well. So I don't think that they're feeling particularly cash poor at this moment. And I know that the administration has been out there saying, oh, no, those 10 points that Iran sent in, like that's all a fake news farce or whatever it is. Certainly wasn't the messaging that was coming out initially. And that also had sanctions easing. The point that Pete Buttigieg was making this morning on CNBC, I think is a worthy one, that there was a deal in place. And if you want to change it up, if you want to add new restrictions or enhancements that you think are going to make it better, that's a good place to start. But by ripping it up and then starting from zero and sending in a team of real estate developers who, yes, got hostages out of Gaza, but the ceasefire in Gaza, that's fake too. That's not ask people what's going on.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, you cooking. For the one time, lady, you cooking on Fox. Usually you just be saying some old leftist BS, but you cooking. Like, yes, even the ceasefire in Gaza has been broken by Israel. You know, when Israel struck southern Lebanon, they was breaking a ceasefire as well. And now here they are again, us trying to have a ceasefire, and what they do, break it. Damn near almost ruined the chance of it. So yeah, even the ceasefire in Gaza one has fell apart because they still was attacking and killing innocent Palestinians, not Hamas. Hamas has not been disarmed. They're still fighting Hamas through an Israeli-backed paramilitary group. So how is Hamas going to disarm when Israel's still funding a militant group against them? Like, do you see the bullshit?
In Gaza right now, there's no ceasefire, and there's the Board of Peace isn't even funded. And maybe we'll get to Gaza Lago or whatever.
President Trump solved a conflict. How many did Biden solve?
Oh my God. This is the
Name
thing,
one.
and this is what happened with Pete Buttigieg.
Real estate
on
developers,
TV.
I'll put my money on them.
Oh, wait, well, Steve Witkoff apparently didn't understand the terms of nuclear enrichment enough to even know what the Iranians were offering.
Who did you hear that from?
He's a fly on the wall.
Who did you hear that from?
It
The
was
Iranians?
reported.
Oh,
by who?
By the Iranians.
By Bloomberg.
Right, exactly.
By Bloomberg. Were they?
I mean, see, and this is like the retarded attitude of it. It's just like, so what? It's good. What? You hear that from the Iranians? I'm gonna be real with you. So if the Iranians give us pretty much a tape recorder and we hear these guys clear as day say it, you're not gonna believe it because the Iranians gave it to us? Like, bro, you dumb? Or you just that delusional?
In the room?
Okay.
There were two different agreements, one in Farsi and one in English.
That's not the one.
No.
And the one in Farsi removed that phrase.
Also said that he knows what.
No, actually, Greg. Oh my God, they're just so dumb when it comes to this. No, Greg, the Pakistani foreign minister and the Iranian foreign minister, which is 2 out of the 3 parties in the room, said that yes, Lebanon was included. So what are you talking about? Like I said, it's like just because the Iranians or but the Pakistanis are the Pakistanis, they're our allies. So if you want to sit there and say, oh, we don't believe the Pakistanis either, then I mean, you're just willing to believe a lie no matter what.
Vladimir Putin is saying and what Vladimir Putin wants in terms of dealing with the Ukrainians. And who in their right mind is going to trust Vladimir Putin about anything? J.D. Vance, like you said, he could come out undefeated. He could come out 0-1. He is new to this process. There is not a team of American diplomats going into it. There's Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff.
Well, the American diplomats for generations.
And I'm sorry, but yeah, she got a really good argument. It's like we're sending real estate investors. We're sending real estate investors instead of actual diplomats who actually understand the history of this conflict. We're sending in 2 people who have conflicted interests with the Israelis. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, this is dumb.
Gotten none of this effectively solved, none of it. And these guys do have a good track record. But Greg, I want to bring you in here because I want to go back to where we started with the president's post today.
Oh, guys, let's make sure we're double tapping that screen and liking the video, guys. And make sure to subscribe to the channel if you've been watching for at least like 30 minutes or so. Go ahead and hit that icon up there and subscribe to the channel. But all right, guys, let's keep it going. Oh, if you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, go ahead and super chat it in. I'll be happy to read it out loud and engage with it.
Basically, he said, you're negotiating to stay alive.
Yes.
Hmm.
No, that
survive? Do you want to live?
I love hearing that Iran isn't cash poor. They have no economy. They have no infrastructure. Okay.
Except their own houses in London.
They're in a depression. Iran is like a hostage taker, a desperate hostage taker. And you could say, oh, they're in control. They have the Strait of Hormuz. That's their hostage. They're holed up in a bank demanding
Bro, we wonder who else their hostages is. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, and Oman. I mean, yeah, their oil infrastructure, their water desalination centers are also being held hostage, you dumbass. That's what's so irritating. It's like they're so ill-informed, it's irritating. It's like, bruh, if y'all at least understood that they have a lot more than just the Strait of Hormuz, that they could just start popping off on water desalination centers and their energy infrastructure and just destroy the global economy, then I'm gonna be rude. I don't even know how people even listen to you guys if you don't understand that. Because that's what they've been attacking. And that's what's been setting a lot of these Middle Eastern countries back. And that's what keeps a lot of them in fear and in check. The fact that Iran can start striking their water desalination centers and their energy infrastructures, which is a war crime, by the way, that they're willing to commit if we commit to destroying their energy infrastructure.
3 large pizzas, a helicopter, and a personal phone call from Sydney Sweeney. It's all a face-saving exercise. That's what this theater is right now. How can they get out of this without being thoroughly humiliated in front of their remaining fans? I don't know what you call them. There were 2 different agreements. Trump looked at the terms and says, yeah, we can work with this. And then Iran says in their agreement that they have driven America to defeat. So who do you believe? Well, the media went for Iran, but maybe you should examine the facts.
No, because the media is looking over at reality, and I'm sorry, but it's killing me that the CNN is giving better coverage of this war than Fox News, because they're actually in Tehran right now, not Fox News. Y'all over there in Israel, and y'all doing good coverage over there, by the way. So great job. But the problem is, though, is that everybody sees what's going on. They understand that Iran has control of the Strait of Hormuz. They understand that Iran can hit our allies. Even though they have these missile defense systems, they still are getting hit. And the drones as well. So that's also what they're holding hostage, by the way, if you don't know.
Who's telling the truth? Who do you believe? The Iranian leader's dead. We have to go through this all over again just to remind them. We have to do this. I apologize. The Iranian leader's dead. Command and control facilities, air defense, naval assets, military leadership, all decimated. But who do you believe? Is Iran the victor or is America? Their entire defense industrial base is destroyed. They can't build missiles, and everybody who can build them are in hiding. Who do you believe? Them or us? Their navy's at the bottom of the sea. 80% of their air defense is gone.
I mean, like I said, you're talking about their air defense, bro, from the 60s. Like, plane from the 60s were bragging about destroying. Boats from the 70s were bragging about destroying. We all know their main, I mean, they don't know. But we all, if you actually know a little bit of geopolitics and about Iran's arsenal.